All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And I just completely lost that. You can edit that out, Mike. Thank you. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, and with me today are my X-Men. How you doing today, Mike? You ready to take on the world?
Yes, I'm gonna convert everyone into Techno Sentinel.
Well, that make my workday easier.
Oh my god. I'm the
And
best at
and
what I do,
James,
Bob,
have
and what I
you
do ain't
avoided
nice.
all of the horrible crowds outside trying to kill the other mutants?
Favorite comic
All right.
series
I'm assuming
ever.
everybody did their reading. Okay, right. We're gonna story time here. You see,
Yeah, it looks like I see Captain
I
America back there, though.
finally get a reason to display my collection, my X-Men collections that that have been. Yes, but it's specifically the episode where Captain America and fights Magneto.
I have
So
to look.
it's there for a reason. Actually,
Spoiler alert.
I haven't looked at these things in like 2 decades. I swear, I've
You just
kept them
pull out the
locked
box.
away. I did. I've kept them locked away for a very long time.
Wait, is that
Display and
Gambit?
what.
Is that a Gambit figurine behind you too?
Yes, he's been here the whole time. I've had him for a very long time.
Holy
I
shit!
also
I just realized.
I also have Gambit on the back of my phone.
More about
Dude,
me.
he's X-Men 97, man. I've been waiting for this for a long time. All right. So, we just had the season finale. We're going to do this relatively quickly. We unfortunately don't have time to do a huge hour-long review. So, we're going to do a relatively quick. What did you guys think coming into this season, and what did you think of the season as a whole? Mike, I'm going to let you go first.
I was very excited for this. Bring me back to my childhood. Well, I don't know about childhood. This show started what, 94? I don't know. I was like 20 years old already. So
Like 92. 92.
You were a
yeah,
baby.
I was a
Baby.
baby, a youngin' of 18. So,
Dude,
Right.
but I still watched it all, religiously. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was part of my cartoon lineup still back then, and so I was definitely looking forward to this since it was a continuation of the original story, and it did not disappoint. They took the gloves off this season, man, and they brought it. So
Good. All right, James. What was your expectations and what was your overall?
it's funny how Mike doesn't have any memory now because we went to the same high school around the same time periods.
we did.
But yes,
Oh yeah.
full disclosure. That's when I went to the same high school.
Oh yeah. That's right.
With 2 years overlap here and there. Um, yeah, honestly, my expectations were maybe not high because only recently I've been disappointed with a lot of the Disney Marvel content.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't quite sure where this X-Men 97. I honestly, full disclosure, I thought it was a cash grab. I thought now that Disney had the Fox catalog, and before we got Deadpool 3, they were going to start giving us a little bit of the animation content to get the Disney subscribers up. So I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be like a nostalgia moment. They're going to regurgitate some of the storylines from 92, because the show was from 92 to 96,
Mm-hmm.
4 seasons. So I thought it was gonna be like, oh wow, these are the characters from what we liked, and they're giving us like Easter eggs of how they could put them in the MCU. Still worth it to watch, but a cash grab. That
Oh,
was
look,
my
another
original.
Phoenix Saga.
Oh my God, it's the fifth one. Oh, Wolverine. Oh, we've seen 30 different Wolverine
And why is
storylines.
Jubilee still
Right.
alive? Nobody liked her in the first
Yes.
place.
Oh, this is how they're going to show us Dazzler because Taylor Swift is going to play Dazzler in the MCU.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was a little bit mid to sub mid. My expectations going in to see the show.
Yo,
Yeah,
but they
I
came
would
out
agree.
the gate. Yeah, the first episode. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was gonna say I agree that my expectations weren't high. I was excited anyway. It was one of my favorite groups, but I was like, it's just gonna who's it gonna be for? What are they gonna go after? Like, is it gonna be a preparation to get people to go out and like the X-Men again so that they can make a movie about it, or are they actually going to do something with this? And lo and surprise, they did something with this. And I don't think we expected, I don't know why, but I just did not expect it to be as good as it is. And maybe
One
I
more
just
thing,
forgot how good
should
it could
probably
be.
add, Chris, we should probably add for the audience as well. One thing that kind of took another hit for me was when we found out a week before the show was released that the
Oh,
showrunner
yeah.
and head writer, Bo DeMaio, was fired
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
from Disney Marvel, and then he had
His.
gone online and removed all his social at the time, removed his entire
Mm-hmm.
social media footprint. So that to me
And
was
this was the
another
second
negative.
the
What
second
was?
show he was also let go from The Witcher as well.
Yeah,
So
but what
we
did
were
he
all
do?
like,
I forgot what. There was something happened, right?
I think
they've
he was showing
never
his penis
said.
on OnlyFans.
Weird.
Yeah, people.
Rumor
Mm-hmm,
he had
yeah,
an OnlyFans account where he was I looked at him. He's not a bad looking black dude who's physically fit, mid-30s. He had an
mm-hmm,
OnlyFans account. He had a side job making money showing private parts.
right. All right, this season. This season was kind of, in one way, it's a speed run of a lot of different classic X-Men storylines. Um, very
That's cool.
shrunk down, kind of a, you know, but however the writers room managed to take and not make that the important thing wasn't just that they were running through these storylines. They managed to say, hey, the important thing is the relationships within these characters, within these storylines, and how do we bring those out? And I think that's where the success of this show, even not not letting these stories go on for episodes and episodes and episodes, you know, they managed to make jumping from each storyline to storyline feel important to the characters within there. And it worked. I mean, that's really it is. The success of it is the drama to me. Um, what did you
Mhm.
guys think was there a part of it that I'm missing that you thought was successful more than just like straight character drama?
I don't know. I think to me the show was wildly successful only because, well, not only, at least two
Mm,
reasons I can think of off the top of my head. One was you hit the nostalgia, you hit the string that we love from the original series in the 92 96 series was the character soap opera that was the X-Men. To
Yeah.
me, the X-Men were is probably best group in Marvel Universe as far as a team group, with apologies to Fantastic Four and the Avengers, West Coast, whatever. I think the X-Men were in fact, comic book sales will tell you X-Men number one. I mean, it's the greatest selling group Marvel other than Spider-Man
mm,
of all time. So it hit a lot of like the 90s soap opera ish of like the Jean Grey and Cyclops and Wolverine, that triangle, and Madeline Pryor,
mm.
and then Professor X versus Magneto, the MLK and Malcolm X um, dichotomy
Comparisons,
between
yeah.
those two characters.
Mm,
Hmm.
So that was one thing that it hit. But I think what also the number two reason why I think it's very successful is this day and age right now with the MCU as it stands. We've had some again, mid to mid level content of Marvel shows, live action. The animation really just What If, so I can't really count that. I think What If was successful, but some will argue against me on that, and that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, this is like a breath of fresh air for the MCU under the Marvel umbrella. Whereas the last 2 years we've had Secret Invasion and Marvels and whatnot, and all of a sudden you get this cartoon show that gives you adult content with some kiddie-ish moments here. Like the Jubilee episode to me was a little kiddie-ish, but it was still entertaining, right? But then you had some Deep Storms episode and Wolverines and then Cyclops and Madeline and they, like, to me, they did it at an adult level that if you're like under 15, it's gonna go right over your head, unless you're a deep young kid who's reading the comic books, which I doubt Generation Z's like that, or was Generation Alpha.
Nobody's allowed to touch these. These aren't for reading.
Yeah, not for reading. So I think the two common points for me that's making it successful is the fact that it's something that ties in a lot of the Easter eggs that made the show successful in the '90s, but also the breath of fresh air we're getting now in a Marvel tentpole that we haven't gotten in like at least 2 years.
Mike, what did you say is the most successful parts of this show?
I think they really brought the action. They brought that. Like I said, straight out the gate, from episode 1, right? They brought it. And the Cyclops took over, did what he had to do, and they were kicking ass.
Cyclops become cool. Like Cyclops became cool.
Exactly.
Yes, people who didn't watch the original or didn't read the comics in the '90s, no clue. They only had the 2000 what's his name, Bryan Singer version of Cyclops.
So that's all they had to go off of, and the original animated show, right? So, and they didn't hold back. I mean, they killed Gambit. That nobody was expecting that.
No.
The feud with Magneto and Charles was crazy.
Yo, the writing, some of
the writing
Magneto's
was brilliant.
writing.
Oh, the speeches
remind me of Thanos and Infinity War and Endgame, where he was dropping, for the people in the rap world, Kendrick and Drake, he was dropping bars. Like Magneto was like, "Wait, why are we gonna let a terrorist tell us what to do?" Well, most countries have terrorists as their leaders. Like, that is some fucking bars.
Yeah.
Right. Also, I would say X-Men are great because you can get so many different character combos in both the interaction relationship sense, but also in the cool action sense. So you can get like Gambit charging up Wolverine's claws and it's just kicking ass, but also you get this Morph and Gambit like buddy combo that I wasn't really expecting to be like, oh, wow, those guys are that's a pretty cool combo, the way they interact and the way Morph bounces off of the gruffness of Wolverine was really good.
or Storm and Jean Grey's like
some brilliant writing there.
Absolutely.
I totally forgot about that because it's been like 30 years since I've read the comics.
And since Storm has had anything in a live action anything, she's never been the.
Sorry, Halle Berry. Love you, Halle Berry, but that was terrible.
They didn't give her anything. They didn't give her anything to do. So, like, that's the hard part. Is
she was supposed to have her own solo movie, but that got killed after how badly Wolverine did. So,
how badly she did Catwoman.
Then you have things like you have Rogue getting to kick some ass, who rarely ever gets to kick some ass. You get Magneto is right following because that's the new politics, and the way the show leaned. The show definitely leaned towards Magneto's politics, and kind of, even though Charles and him at the end, and they tried their brothers and the whole shebang, it definitely leaned into. Be honest,
Magneto was right.
let's be honest. Even in the comics in the heyday, well, for me, I can't speak for the rest of you guys, but I definitely lean more towards Magneto up until when Magneto was threatened human genocide. That's when I was like, I do. Like
Mhm.
Killmonger, right?
Yeah.
I got Killmonger's point of view up until he was like, yeah, we're going to colonize the world. Like, we're going to show them how. I'm like, whoa. That's when you're like, all right, I'm off this train. Like,
Well, that's what makes them the villain, right? They get to this point where you're like, yeah, I'm with you, and then they cross it. And you're like, dude, did you really have to do that?
nah, that's
So,
unnecessary.
All right, so
I
I'm going
mean,
to ask you, what
Magneto
was?
shut down power in the entire world. You know?
What
Yeah.
about the mutants? Well, evolution's gonna make the ones who are strong. I'm like, whoa! Now you're attacking
Oh,
your own.
yeah,
Mutants?
exactly.
Yeah. So.
What was one of your favorite visuals? So, like for me, the whole Madeline Pryor versus Magneto fight was some of the best visuals I had seen in a long time. That and it was I was shocked at how good that was. I didn't remember Madeline Pryor being shown as a powerhouse, and they
Yeah, me
allowed
neither.
her
Yeah, you're right.
they allowed her to be a powerhouse on screen, even if it's a short time. Again, a lot of these characters didn't. You don't get an hour with each person, but you get bits here and there, and it builds on itself. And I think a lot of the characters got a chance to show out at least once. Was
I
there a
think for
there's
me, action
yeah, go ahead.
wise, sorry, I know
Mm-hmm.
Mike is pondering the whole episode of the attack of Genosha.
Yes.
From the moment that Cable goes in, from that sequence, I could rewatch this to go to bed tonight. From the moment that
Mm-hmm.
Cable arrives, talk to Madeline, and all of a sudden, he's being pulled back to this time stream. The explosion and that entire episode up until Rogue is holding Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that to me was like chef's kiss of action, drama, writing, the big threes. Like you
Mm-hmm.
had everything in that third act of that episode that unfortunately the finale didn't live up to, in my opinion. Still good,
Yeah.
but I thought that to me that was the
It's
crescendo of
sometimes
the
it's
entire
hard to do that when you just made the perfect episode of television. It's really hard to say, well, I've got a finale coming. It's going to be really good, and it
and then
is
they
really
even jumped
good.
quiet. Even the credits music was like the quiet, somber.
Yeah.
Yo, that was beautiful, man.
Yeah. You can't beat that one for sure. That whole sequence. That was
The
probably the best for
action
me
was
as well.
beautiful. The fight scenes,
Mhm.
everything was clicking.
Yeah.
The animation too. And I know you,
I
Chris,
mean,
you're
that
a
kind of
animation.
comes down to how good of a antagonist is Bastion versus how good, you know. That's the thing. Like Bastion's kind of cool. I understand that direction works for the whole story, but
Mhm.
the the fight with Bastion and then Scott at the end going like, "Wait a minute, Bastion, I'm going to try to convince you." I'm like, "Really? Didn't we already do this?
Yeah,
He already
I,
told
I didn't
you
like that.
that shit wasn't going to work."
But you know what? It made sense if you now that we've all seen the finale. He still believes in Professor X's dream of the pacifist option as opposed to
Yeah.
the militant option. So instead of
I don't know.
fighting,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "All right, this is what Professor X would have done this situation." Because he's looking at his X Men. He is the leader. He's a de facto leader.
Mm-hmm.
Professor X and Magneto are both comatose. So he is
Mm-hmm.
now the de facto leader, and he's
Yeah.
looking, and he was like, "This is not the way. Let's try this other way." And yeah, it looked kind of stupid on the first watch, but then at the end, you're like, "Oh, this makes sense. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it."
No, I agree with you. I'll go with that. I mean, we could talk about this for an hour. I know we can't do that.
Hold on, one other thing, and I don't know
Mhm.
your agenda, but I have to hit. Like I mentioned this before, one of my favorite X Men storylines was Fatal Attractions, and I did not know they were gonna, resurrect that storyline in this particular season. It was really nice to see because this version of Wolverine definitely not the same as the Fox version. It's closer to the comic book. Um,
Mhm.
And the fact that Magneto did that, in fact, you saw the claws rip through Magneto, and they showed blood, right? They showed something that you've never seen.
Which
And
I
the
mentioned
Right,
they
he
changed
didn't really.
the original. Yeah.
before X-Men 97 came back, Disney
I was literally looking at the
XD
comic, and it's like his shirt's just ripped. It's not
Yeah,
even like.
before this, Disney, back when we had Disney XD channel, for those of us who
Mhm.
watched the Avengers and Iron Man, all that, and the Hulk, they didn't never show anything like this.
No.
Mm-mm.
So the fact that they showed the full penetration pause and like the blood and everything, I was like, wow, holy shit. And then Magneto goes like, oh, this, this must end finally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, they're gonna do it. They're gonna
Yeah.
do it. And I was like, that was my second favorite moment in the entire show.
Yeah, that was jaw dropping too. That one, yeah. And I did appreciate all the cameos. We got to see Daredevil in it again.
Yes.
They even busted out Cloak and Dagger.
They did.
I saw that.
I don't know why Disney keeps shoving Cloak and Dagger down our throats.
I like that live action one they did for 2 seasons.
I watched it and gave up.
Yeah.
I'll say you can judge a show, especially a superhero show, by the fact that when there's cool cameos, it's not the first thing. The cameo isn't the first thing talked about the next
Right.
day. Like Spider-Man showed up, Captain America showed up, and everybody was still talking about the story or the speeches or the main X-Men. That was still the main talking point. It was like when Rogue comes down on Captain America, everybody was like, "Yo, Rogue!" Everybody was down with you.
America's top cop. I'm like, oh,
burn him. So, all
It was
right.
just kind of funny though. Tony and Steve just sitting in the White House watching this all go down, and not doing anything.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay,
By the way,
Can I add-
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
doesn't Tony have like a personal reactor to power things? Like,
Yes.
why is he just sitting there doing nothing with all the
He
power?
doesn't have enough to power the entire planet. That's the difference. He clearly
He's not
could
even, like-
power the White House. He could do all that shit.
He probably
By the way-
brought a reactor to the White House and then to Venture
Disney,
Yeah,
Power.
like-
by the way, Kevin Feige and Disney, I'm not fooled.
Mm.
They gave us extra footage of Daredevil to set us up for a Daredevil project coming down the pipeline.
Mhm.
They were very strategic of which characters. Spider-Man, obviously.
Yeah.
Peter being with Mary Jane, finally.
Mhm. We also
kept
got
showing us-
actual
Silver
Psylocke.
Samurai.
Yes.
Actual Psylocke.
Yes.
They showed us 2 different cameos of Silver Samurai and Omega Red.
Yeah.
Omega
Again,
Red.
we might be-
I love Omega
We might
Red.
see Omega Red in Deadpool 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
All right. I guess the last thing would be, are you on the side of you prefer the Scott, Jean, Madeline Pryor love triangle shit, or did you like the Magneto, Rogue, Gambit?
Oh, that's
Triangle.
Not fair.
Which side? which one did you?
It's like
was
you like
messier.
General Hospital or All My Children. So popular.
I mean, that's what this is all about.
No,
'Cause you're not going to say.
I prefer the morph turning into
Hulk.
into Jean and going.
Into Jean Grey and
I
telling
love
him he
you.
loved.
I'll say since she's not
Yo,
here. I love you.
that-
Stay with me.
If
That was the show creator that wrote that shit. If that was also part of Bo DeMaio,
you're a fucked up individual, dude. You created that fucking scene. That is layered.
Yep.
Because
That's
I think
not even
Morph
the-
really does love
Yeah,
Wolverine.
I think so too. Yep.
That's not even the first scene. I mean, if you think back to I think it was the second episode where everybody's kind of going nuts because of Madeline Pryor, and then
Mhm.
Morph goes into the showers and goes, "Oh, Logan, is that
Yes.
you in there?"
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Well, hold
And-
on. As good as that, I mean, that's very good. We didn't even talk about the fact that Madeline at one point was going into Cyclops. They were doing the astral projection.
Oh shit, that was
conversation.
so
It was
good.
great. That shit was
He
deep.
slid into
Right.
his mental DMs.
But if it wasn't
And
for the finale of Mental DMs, oh, good one.
But that finale with Professor X and Charles talking, he's like, "I'll never abandon you," and all that shit.
Mhm.
That hit deep. That hit deep because to me, that's the crux of the entire X-Men.
Right.
You know, the purpose of the entire X-Men
Right.
comic book.
I'm just thinking of in Krakoa when Rogue and Remy have that conversation and he throws the little Queen of Hearts in the fire and then she comes out to the party and she's dressed up
Mhm.
and she goes
that's
up
like
and she dances with Eric and she kisses him and then goes, "No, I'm going with the other guy." But then, like, just that whole episode, how that builds into the fact that you're like, "Oh, okay, so those two are gonna be finally together," and then they kill fucking Gambit in that
and then
episode.
she goes, "I can't feel you." Oh my
Oh my god! Like,
I
No,
think, I
but
think
because of that episode, when I was watching the finale, I was like, all bets are off. I don't know if somebody else is gonna die, right? So the
right?
tension
Yeah,
was actually
exactly.
killed because they killed off
ratcheted.
Gambit, and I was like,
listen,
who
I
else
thought
was
Jean
gonna
Grey
die?
died in the episode before this. I
Yeah,
thought Jean Grey died by
right.
Cable.
Yep.
When
Jesus.
she
Okay.
left.
So did you guys see?
You asked a question that none of us answered. To me, they're both equally spicy.
Yeah,
And
man, that
I'm
was.
not gonna.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Maybe
Good
Either.
our
point, good
audience, our watchers, can chime in, comment, and tell us what they think. But to me,
Right.
Right.
I'm not gonna make a pick.
Okay, did you see the after credit scene
Yes.
Yes.
or mid credit scene? I guess.
Well,
All
we
right,
got to talk
are
about
we
where they went, right? For next season.
Okay, yeah. At the last episode, they got kicked into time. So we got the main cast, everybody except for Gene and Scott got kicked to the
Mhm.
past to meet En Sabanur or
Actually, no,
Apocalypse.
it's not everyone. Not everyone. I didn't realize
Was-
that until after I went online. Wolverine, Morph, and Storm wasn't accounted for.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, now that you say
They didn't
that,
show up
yeah.
until those three. Yeah. I didn't realize until I went online. You know me. Inspector.
Right, yeah.
They're like, wait a minute. They didn't show us what happened to because they were split for some reason. The three groups were split. So Storm, Wolverine, and Morph were not shown.
So
Right.
then my
well, you know why Scott and Jean go to the future because they got to go hang out with Cable and raise their kid. That was always going to
Yeah.
happen. Everybody else everybody except for those other three going back to the past. I'm completely lost on this. If this was a thing that happened,
Not in the
I'm
comics,
very
no, they haven't.
confused.
Yeah, I don't
Or
know
if
about
this
It
is
looks like
is
they're,
this-
they're meeting Apocalypse. Because
I know
there's
they're meeting
another scene-
Apocalypse. Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Go ahead.
There's another scene in the present day. They showed Apocalypse in his current iteration.
Right.
Right,
So-
and he had a little Gambit. He picked up Gambit's card.
Card.
Right, out of,
Which I was
out of-
confused because Mike and I, we were talking offline after last week's episode. We were thinking that they're going to give us the seeds for Onslaught
Mm-hmm.
because of
Yeah, that
the
was-
Fatal Attractions, that beautiful storyline that you showed us earlier. That's how that began. You know, the psychic
Mhm.
intrusion into Magneto's brain started the whole Onslaught series, which brought in all of Earth's heroes, right? But I don't think they're going there anymore.
Yeah.
No, it looks like they're skipping right to just before and eventually into Age of Apocalypse,
Age of Apocalypse.
which is one of my absolute favorite storylines. But also
Top
you
five.
have the Wolverine, the boneless, the adamantiumless Wolverine story, which
Yeah.
was another whole thing where he devolved into like animal form, which I hope they don't do because that wasn't great. But there was some great,
Wolverine. I don't like that. No.
but there was some other great stuff in there with him and Jubilee and stuff like that with him
I'm
discovering
trying
stuff about it.
to find his humanity eventually, and then
Mhm.
fucking Apocalypse giving him the adamantium back and made him the Angel Death.
Right.
Mm.
So we definitely have a lot of apocalypse-based stuff here. I'm definitely going to do what James does, is I'm going to go on YouTube and Wikipedia. I'm going to talk
There's
to
nothing wrong with
Paige.
that. There's nothing
I'm gonna
wrong
talk-
with that.
talk to Paige and get the lowdown on what can be coming down the
So
pipe.
my question is, we know they're out of time, but are they? Is it possible because of the connection, because of the MCU, are they out of dimension?
Yeah, there's rumors that they. Yeah, I saw that online too. I'm ignoring a lot
Just like at the end of Captain Marvel when Photon ended up.
Mhm.
I did see that, Mike. I read a lot of articles where they're
Mm.
saying this is probably how they're going to segue into a what if episode or
Mm.
actual live action. So
Yeah.
what if season 3? I think.
Yep.
Or season 3. Yeah, this
Yeah,
may show how. Yeah.
The X-Men have always had that too, in a similar or different way. I mean, even Cable in this last episode said he had fought 200 different times.
Right.
This basically same scenario, and we know like his future is changeable and the future is adjustable by Days of Future Past and all of those storylines too. So there's no set in stone one storyline that is past to future for the X-Men either. So whether you call those dimensions or you call them timelines or however you want to play with them, they're all kind of the same thing. So I think it all works eventually.
The one theory online on the article, I don't know, Screen Rant, whatever it was. But if you remember before the mid credit and post credit scene, as the episode was dwindling down, they showed you like a roster of like mutants and missing whatever, and then they showed Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver off world, and they didn't give you much information beyond that, right? And those are characters that the MCU had the rights to at the time for Fox. So they're like off world or also not in the universe, you know.
Right. All right. Why don't you guys give me a grade for X-Men '97 season 1? Should be interesting.
I'm giving it an A, solid A.
Yeah, I'm going A+ on this one, man. This one knocked it out the park for me.
Yeah, I have a hard.
My plus that was missing is a Jubilee episode, Mike. That was mine.
With Sunspot.
Look.
Can't stand that character.
Unfortunately, I'm a fan of Jubilee because I love the Jubilee Wolverine. But it's a weird thing here is they pulled Jubilee out of her normal location, her normal position in this crew. I guess she's older now. She's not like the first kid walking in. And they try to replace that with Sunspot, kind of not the best. And I don't have a problem with Jubilee. I have more of a problem that Sunspot was a weird placed character and didn't really. I don't think they even. I don't even think they did anything with him interesting to be he's the young guy coming into the X-Men, learning all this stuff, and he's going to be important in that kind of a way. He basically got shoved to the sideline as much as anything.
Sorry, real quick. Did you catch Morph turning into Reed Richards?
No, I did not. Where?
Yeah. When the Astro was exploding, he turned into because he was trying to
stretch.
hold on.
I thought that was cool.
By the way, let's talk about this real quick before we end because this is a hot topic of social media. Morph it seems to be like what's her name from Secret Invasion?
Super Skrull.
Super Skrull.
Super Skrull.
Where she can turn. She has the powers of any character she wills. But she had the Hulk. He had the Hulk strength.
But no, they're limited though. They're not as strong as the original, right?
What do you mean? When he turned to the Hulk, he was punching Sentinels' heads off.
Well, because the Hulk is how fucking strong.
That's strong enough. What are you talking about?
That's what I mean, though. It wouldn't be actual Hulk level.
But the point is,
Hulk enough.
That is the mutant power that's a mega level.
Yeah, but Mystique
because he could turn into Magneto and stop the asteroid there.
But Mystique is also supposed to be able to do that too, right?
Once you touch the character.
Yeah.
Also, I saw people bring this up. Rogue is more than a strong character. She should have just touched Magneto and taken his power to also do that.
Yes, that is true.
But she couldn't, though.
Why not?
What she was kissing him because he had that.
Oh yeah, you're right. He has that electrical.
Yeah, I thought I thought he did that. He created that. That's not like just inherent. He doesn't have to do anything. I thought he
Oh
created
yeah,
that.
yeah, Mike. Yeah, he
Maybe.
has to be conscious to do it. Yeah, he has to be conscious.
Oh,
For,
okay. Maybe.
yeah, he's,
I
he's,
could
he's
swear
conscious.
I could swear she's taken his power before, but I'd have to.
Yeah, but that
really
still doesn't
go back.
explain Morph. No, hold on. We're using role. No. Morph is basically the most powerful character. Why not beam fucking Professor X? Like no, it doesn't make sense how he's able to turn into these characters and use their powers at will.
Hey, like again, I think this series played a little fast and loose with a lot of things.
So, but
And-
he's no different. Darwin, sorry to interrupt, but Darwin is also very powerful, right? Although Darwin got nerfed in.
Unless you make him swallow an explosion or something.
We don't talk about First Class, so Darwin in First Class.
Oh, poor guy. Yeah. Never forget.
I mean, there's a lot of things they could have done, but anyway, it's not perfect in that sense because it is moving fast. There's a lot of characters. They're moving extremely fast through storylines, but even within those two things that you would normally say, oh, this is like makes the writing extremely hard to do. They managed to make something extremely interesting, entertaining, thought-provoking, emotionally attracting, and fun to watch. And I'm going.
We're nitpicking. We're at the point of the night.
It
we're
is nitpicking.
and-
No, I did appreciate though. Like in those last couple episodes, we got to see a lot of Omega level powers in use. You know what I mean? Between Charles and Magneto, and
I was worried that Jean in the last episode was when I looked at the timeline after Jean came in and she basically wiped the floor in like 10 seconds with Bastion, and I'm like, wait, we're only like 10 minutes into this episode. This can't end like this.
Yeah, what about the
I'm
fact
like, this
that
is
the Phoenix
weird.
Force? Hold on, she still has residual powers of the Phoenix Force. I'm like, you're
Right.
beyond Omega level mutant now. You're a concept. Like,
I thought for sure. I'm
again,
like, oh no,
this is what we do. We're nitpicking, but
I said, oh no, she's gonna faint again. Oh no, oh no. Yeah, I mean, with all the comics, with all the heroes, especially the X-Men, their capabilities and strengths rise and fall depending on the drama necessary. Like, there's no reason
and who the writer is, and who the writer is.
There's no reason Jean Grey shouldn't be able to stop Asteroid M,
right,
by herself. Like, technically, her and Magneto should be at pretty much a similar level in that. And
Listen,
also,
Chris,
what the hell is Storm doing in space? The air is not helping.
But let's be honest. Professor X
Yeah.
could have always killed Magneto at any given moment. Dude, you're losing X-Men left and right. End this guy. Like the Batman. Kill the Joker and Gotham is safe. I can never kill.
Yeah. Couldn't Professor X just use Cerebro and find out everybody who has bad intentions for the X-Men? And just like...
You forget that Professor X also has telekinetic powers. You could have removed the helmet and Nick went into his fucking brain.
Right. I mean, think about how they set this up with. They sent Jean Grey down, but they brought Wolverine up.
That's a very popular social meme, by the way.
Right.
Who decided that we're gonna send the dude with the metal bones to space?
I mean, technically, Jean Grey should be able to go in either direction by herself and take everybody out. She doesn't need the help.
Storm should have been Storm, who was manipulating a weather, and
should have been on Earth.
Nah, they send my poor dude to his doom.
Right. All right. It's fun to nitpick, but it was a good show. If I include my enjoyment of it, I guess I have to go A+. I know it's not perfect, but I just enjoyed so much of it.
Yeah, I'm sticking to my.
Come on, James. Come on.
So
I loved the Jubilee episode. She made a Rasengan. I was so happy. I made my Naruto heart bounce. So,
See, there you go.
all right.
All right. Looking
The
forward
worst
to season
episode. The worst episode was Professor X in space.
Yeah, that
mean-
one I was like,
two.
man,
Shire. Yeah, but that was
The
also
wedding.
mixed with something else. Wasn't that mixed with Storm?
that was her trying to get
That
her powers
wasn't
back.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
Storm carried. Yeah, Storm carried. You know. By the way, we didn't even talk about Storm. Oh my God.
Okay, she had one of the best openings. You know, give him the weather report. Like, just that shit was great.
And almost every one of her lines were like
Yeah.
her. I think the best script writing, other than Magneto, was when she was like, "Weather your mind and let them mind your weather."
Yeah, her
Yeah.
and Jean
Fucking
was like, let
tough.
them
That shit was tough.
mind the weather and weather your
Yo,
mind.
that is tough.
I think the hard part is Storm got kind of taken out of the center of the season as she got depowered, which allowed her to go through a cool
In
thing.
the
But then
comic.
she got like a half an episode here, then all of the Krakoa stuff happened, and then she had another half an episode before she came back in the finale, like for the finale. But there was a lot of she's away doing her own thing away from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, she got pulled out of the season quite a bit.
One last thing about cameos, and then we can wrap it up. T'Chaka right now is Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was
Not
that
T'Challa.
T'Chaka?
Yeah, it was
Nice.
T'Chaka. Yep.
In
And
fact,
you could tell with the collar.
I read all of the post credits, and gave me the voice of T'Chaka, not T'Challa, the actor.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. I want to see where that goes.
Well, at least they're keeping it in continuity with the MCU then.
Exactly. All right.
All
So I
right.
got, buddy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us. We had a great time. We loved talking about that. We talked about it for 20 more minutes than we expected to because we had so much fun. Mike will edit this down, and I can't wait.
Mike will delete all of the other Star Wars joint and just focus on
That's
this.
right, just this one. This will be the only thing you'll hear about. All right, thank you for joining us, everybody, and I just completely lost that. You can edit that out, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We will see you soon on the next episode. I don't even know what we're talking about next. There's so much cool stuff, but Mike, where can the fine people find us?
All over the internet at Heroes Peak. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, OnlyFans, Pornhub.
That's how DeMaio got fucking fired.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications and leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of X-Men 97 Season 1.
We have OnlyFans where we're wearing cosplay and nothing else.
It's just me reading comic books quietly in front of a fire.
ASMR.
I
Hey,
wonder
well,
if
you-
that would
You
work.
mispronouncing and Chris mispronouncing names.
All right,
And
guys.
Sabanur.
Sabar Noi?
Oh, boy.
Aaron?
Aaron. You're in trouble, Aaron. All right, guys, let's get some sleep. I'm
Nat
tired.
Han.
Good night.
Yes. Good night.
Nat Han, some herb.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.